My name is Bobby. I'm from Long Island, New York, and I'm the brewer at Santa Fury Brewing. I kind of just like trying out things and seeing what works. I like going to other places and seeing what they're making and being like, all right, can I make something that's close to this? I like this, I don't like this. Like, what can I make that is like this? Or like, definitely not trying to like rip anything off, but just like being inspired by things that I enjoy. And then kind of just going at it, making a recipe, being like, yeah, this looks good, trying it out. I really like brewing things a second time, because the first time is kind of like a shot in the dark. Second time, you're like, all right, cool, I want to make these little tweaks. And I think seeing your small adjustments actually turn into something cool is, I like that. I like that part of it. So as a not science person in my life before this, the science aspect is really cool. I think it depends on kind of a lot of things, like location, weather, who you're with. I don't know. I think for the most part, are like a light hoppy beer. Like, I mean, West Coast Pilsner has been my favorite style of beer since I had it out in California, maybe 6-7 years ago. But like, yeah, I think that just kind of blends. Like, I love a pale ale, I love a Pilsner, and just like bringing those two things together and getting like clean beer with big hop expression is something that I really enjoy. But I still like a nice IPA. I still like a nice West Coast IPA, a Pilsner. Smoked beers, if I have too many, I kind of get burnt out on them, but like, they're so refreshing when you just like have one after it's been a bit. Same thing with Schwartz beer. Like, I love drinking Schwartz beer in the winter, but then when I've had too many, I'm just like, I got to stay away for like 6-7 months. But yeah, I'd say something clean and hoppy is probably like my overall favorite style of beer. Since we came out with the hazy IPA, that's been the biggest one, and I think it's only because we have one on that it outsells everything by a mile. I think if we had two, which we do right now, but yeah, if we had two on all the time, I think that they would both probably be even and probably on the top end of what we sell. But yeah, since we just have one hazy, I think that's still like the style of beer that people are coming to drink at most breweries. But close-ish behind it is the Pilsner, which is pretty surprising. I don't know, the Pilsner, people just love a Pilsner too, because we also are a restaurant, so that's a very approachable beer to have with food, and it's also what most people just know too. Like, I feel like hazy IPA is just like the popular style of beer in general across the country, which I'm sure everyone will answer that question the same way. But yeah, second behind is Pilsner. People just love a Pilsner. And then I think third and fourth, pretty close to each other, are the Watermark Czech Pale Lager and the Future Freaks Me Out American IPA. Future Freaks Me Out was the only IPA we had on for a while, and like little tweaks here and there, but it's for the most part the same beer it's always been. And it's just kind of like, it's got a little more body than West Coast, but it's not hazy. It's kind of just this in-between style that I think pleases a lot of people. So, but yeah, if it said hazy on there, I'm sure it would sell more, but it's not hazy, so it's not gonna say. This is the first brewery that I worked at that is all direct to consumer, like direct over the bar to consumer. The first place that I worked at, they had 2 tap rooms, but we produced a lot of beer that went out to distribution markets. And like, most of the time we would only have a handful of those beers on draft in our tap room. So like, didn't really get to see the longevity of that beer and like how it aged, not aged, but like how well it did over time, and like the beers that people would come back for, because like it was kind of rotating. We made probably 25 beers seasonally, so like sometimes we'd have one IPA on, then like when it's gone, it would come back for like 6-7 months. Whereas here we have like 5 beers that are always on, and we'll do repeats, and those beers usually last for like, I bet the hazy lasts for like a month, but everything else is like 1 to 3 months. And if something is doing well, then we'll brew a second batch of it, so that it's on for almost half a year at that point. And then the other brewery that I worked at was pretty much all, like, it was a production brewery, so pretty much everything that we brewed, I'd brew 10 to 13 times a week, depending on the week, and almost all that beer wouldn't be sold on our tap rooms. It's cool to see the direct impact of what small changes are doing to your beers, seeing people around you like notice if something is getting better, if something is not necessarily off, but like if you made a change, you're like, why is that different? And just like asking those questions and collectively learning together about beer. But yeah, it's different for me to be so close to the final product of everything that I do. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just seeing all those beers always until they're gone, like from beginning to end until they're gone. I see like almost every ounce of it, because we can a little bit, but like none of that goes to any stores, so that's all to our customers still. I think attention to detail, specifically like pH stuff. Talk to my friend all the time, and he tells me that I think too much about these things, and that I'm looking too hard at these numbers and like not criticizing myself, but like, I don't know. I think that stuff matters, and I think it matters to look at. I'm sure I do look at things too much sometimes, but it's really just about like knowing what these small tweaks with pH will do. Because I've tried everything here. When I first started here, I was experimenting with different pHs, different acids, trying to figure out like what in the kettle, like end of kettle during knockout, like what that pH would look like after fermentation. And I saw a lot of differences in using different acids, different knockout pHs, just seeing how like fermentation would go with those pHs. So I don't know. That's one thing that everyone on the like, brewery podcast that I've listened to, that everyone talks about, that matters so much, is monitoring your pH between mash, and boil, and whirlpool, and post fermentation. For some beers, it's like you even want to go lower than you want to, because dry hopping will bring your pH up super high, and then that beer becomes kind of flabby. So it's really just knowing for different styles where you want, like what range you want to be in. It's mostly a range. It's not like a specific number, but I'd like to think it's a specific number, and that's why I'm always looking. But yeah, I think I've seen the most differences with stuff like that. It's just like, all right, my knockout pH is like 0.1 lower than last time, and then it's like, oh, this beer came out a little more acidic, and it's like, sure, nobody drinking that is gonna really notice it, but since I know what the number is, I'm like, oh, on paper that's more acidic, and then in my head I'm thinking that it's more acidic, but it does something. I think the cool thing about being here is that it's super small batch, and they're always down to try something different, whether it's something that we had somewhere else that we liked, or like any one of us, or like just an idea where like, that sounds cool, like can we try it? And then after a couple of months we're like, yeah, you know what, let's go for it. So like the Smoketellus I was working on for a long time to get that one made, and that was one that was really cool to see actually made. I think it came out great. I'm really excited about that. This is the first brewery where I'm cooling down my whirlpool for an IPA, and I think that makes a pretty big difference. This isn't new to everyone, this is new to me. All these things are new to me. But I got getting into using hop extracts in beers, in IPAs, and the rice lager has it too. But yeah, it's just, I see people talk about these different extracts all the time. Some of them seem super, I've used some in the past at other breweries that I worked at. They're super messy, and I feel like for how messy it wasn't really worth like using it. But new technology has created new hop extracts that are a lot easier to use and seem like they're a lot more impactful to the final beer. So yeah, I just got what is it? It's Abstracts Quantum is a new-ish hop extract that I just started using. It's in our anniversary double IPA, it's in our rice lager, and it's going to be in the next batch of our hazy IPA. So it'll be really cool to see what that beer was before hop extract, then after, and I think it's going to make a big impact. So yeah, it's cool to just learn about something new and be like, hey, I want to try it. So it's like, all right, go for it. So having the creative freedom to do those things is really cool. I feel like I'm not one thing though, you know? I'd say for everything, maybe I'd be like something I don't make, but maybe like some mixed fermentation, barrel aged farmhouse ale that just, there's a lot of different things going on, and you're kind of just bringing it together to make one cohesive thing, which maybe that represents me, I don't know. I think something that when I started homebrewing 6 years ago, what really like got me was that it felt like it scratched that same itch that playing music does. Like writing a recipe, and like sure, it's more science and more like it's more technical, but I feel like there's still a creative aspect of like throwing some stuff together and it turning into something cool. And like that's kind of what my musical approach was too. Like I don't know a whole lot of music theory and stuff, but like kind of just playing around with the guitar and finding it like a riff that sounds cool and then working from there. It's similar in a way, I think, to making a beer. Like I obsess over things the same way of like, especially if it's a new beer and being in the studio. Like in the studio, I'll try a bunch of different guitar things or bass things, or like, oh, you got a piano, let's try and do some piano in there. And then like for a recipe, I'll like obsess over like 1 or 2% differences in using some specialty grain. Like with the Smotellas, I was like going back and forth on how much like Carahel to use, how much of the smoked wheat to use, how much of the Beechwood smoked barley to use. Like just being like, oh, like do I dial it back, do I dial it up, like I don't know. And then even like till the day I brewed it, I was like, I don't know. So that's why brewing something a second time is why that's what I like. It's kind of like, I guess brewing it a second time is like mixing something where it's like, all right, it's done. Like the recipe is done, the song is done, and now it's time to just like smooth things out, get the levels right, get the pH right, get that bitterness right. If it's a little too bitter, dial it back. If it needs more, bring it up. If it needed more of that smoke, add some more smoke. So yeah, I do think there are a lot of parallels with music and beer, and I think that's why I got into it, because it was more accessible to me than like playing music all the time, I think. I feel like for this one, I'll lead with style, because I feel like the name matters around the style. Like we got a Hellbent on it. There's probably, I wouldn't name any other beer Hellbent besides something that is smoked and also a Helles. So like it kind of just fits that. Yeah, like all of our sour names are like, what was that bit? LCD Sound System songs, pretty much. I think pretty much every sour is that. And like that's just the vibe that fits with that beer. So for my base, I feel like the base that I have is a really cool, it's one of the lawsuit Japanese Greco bottles, full fender, and it's a 70s tea base. So I feel like there's a lot of history in that. It's pretty rich and smooth. So I feel like maybe it would be a stout of sorts, but like a lighter, smooth stout that's like, it's got body, you know that it's got some body, it's there, but like it finishes nice, smooth, a little creamy. I do think the local craft beer is a really good spot. I think a lot of breweries are like at the top of their game right now, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, I think everyone's trying to focus more on taproot stuff and having events and getting cool at the door versus distribution, which totally makes sense. I've worked at 2 breweries that did a lot of distribution, and even just from like a working standpoint, it made it feel a little less special when everything you're making is just going out the door to sit on a shelf somewhere. So yeah, I think everyone is kind of feeling that, and I think even beer drinkers are like more into going to the source. You know, like I, as someone who also like getting into beer, I loved going to like traveling to the breweries. Like I loved going to like Treehouse, Trillium, going like there's still places like Fox Farm in Connecticut that like they don't distribute really. They like, you can find their beers sometimes at bars, but like if you want to get all stuff, like you got to go there. And also the vibe there is incredible. So yeah, I think
people are just trying to get little people to come in the doors in whatever way they can, which obviously there's so many breweries, there's so many people like different things. But I think there are enough events that everyone has that are like actually consistently bringing people in the doors, which is cool. Yeah, just having food, getting people to get food here, get a beer here, and then be like, all right, well, we ate, now like let's have another beer before we go to our next spot, make it 2 more beers, maybe this is our last spot because we have dessert, we have food, we have beer. And just I think having a, like, our board is very different. Like, I kind of think we have something for everyone, and I think most places are doing that. There are some places you'll go to that like have a lot of one style and then like 1 or 2 of another style, so sometimes people's palates kind of get burnt out drinking the same thing. And like, I do think that's nice why we only have 2 IPAs. Well, I guess now we have 3 IPAs on, but normally we're just rocking with 2 IPAs. So like, the person that likes the IPA will drink it till they're like, all right, cool, I'm done, it's time to go somewhere else. But if they're like, oh, you got a lot of different beers, like I've never had a smoked beer, I've never had a dry hop rice beer, I've never had a pickle sour, which certainly it exists. Yeah, I just think it's important to have something for everyone. I think the answer is always changing because, again, drinking beer at different seasons makes me want to drink something different. So if I go somewhere and they have something really good at the time, I'm like, oh shit, I really like this. I want to come back here and have more and see like what else I haven't had from them that I really like right now. So I feel like right now, I think Freeze is like, they got a brewer from Highland Park, which is, they started West Coast Pilsner, and being out there so long ago drinking that beer, I was like, this is the best beer style ever. And seeing him bring that here and like brewing it the way that it was like meant to be brewed, I think has been really cool to drink those beers. I'm like, they made a Timbovilles, which is the beer that created West Coast Pilsner essentially, and like them making that, them making like they made 4 or 5 at this point, and they're all just like right at that alley of super clean, super crispy. I just like, they just have that huge hop expression that like you can't get otherwise. Something about the way that like the malt they use, the yeast they're using, how it's being fermented, what they're doing with hops and hop extract, it just creates like the perfect beer. So yeah, I'd say, to make my tangent shorter, Freeze right now, probably my second brewery. I'd say Brewing. I've been going there forever. It's just always been a favorite. They have so much different beer, and like depending on the mood that I'm feeling, I can get it there. If I want something that's like clean and hoppy, they always have that. If I want something that's like a little bolder and hoppy, they have that. Something that's full funky, they always have that, and it's always so good. If I want to end my night with like big stout, they got that too. So you know, it kind of just like checks all those boxes of things that whatever you're in the mood to drink, they probably have it. And I think that's always been big for me. And also just like drinking with different people, it's hard to make everyone happy, and I feel like that's a brewery that pretty much every person that I've gone out with has agreed that like, yeah, everything they have is like something I want to drink. So I think that's a cool thing to have. Third, probably Wild East. Every time I go there, it's just, the lagers are so good, the IPAs are so good. We went there recently and had I think it was their ESB on Nitro, and that blew us away. So that's one of those things where like you have something once and you're like, I can't believe this thing. That was that beer. I went there with Dorian, our GM, a couple weeks ago for a guild meeting, and someone told us to get, we're like, all right, cool, like I like ESB, but like it's not like an always drinker for me. And then we got that, and we were both like, on Nitro, this is crazy because I would have never thought that. And just like the way it was so good. So yeah, I'd say Freeze, Grim, and Wild East are like right now 3 of my favorite breweries in the city. I just appreciate everyone that like I have in this industry, that if I have a question, if I have anything, like if I'm concerned about something and I ask someone like, hey, has this ever happened to you with a beer? Like, what have you done to this? Like, any questions that I have, I usually have someone that I can reach out to. And I think that's really cool about this industry. It's finding those friends that usually have an answer for you, or if they don't, then they'll like help you figure it out. So I like the collaborative effort to make everyone's beer collectively better and just like do things right or do things better, or just like, I don't know, having people around you that can make you a better brewer. I think that's really cool.
Shout out our staff here. I don't know.
So